Welcome to the Black-Liberation.Tech podcast, brought to you by Jordan Nuance, LLC, and hosted by Dr. Renée Jordan. This podcast is a accumulation of Dr. Jordan's dissertation work and her passion for empowering Latinas, Afro-Latinas, Black women, and girls to navigate the academic and professional worlds with confidence and success. Whether you're a mother or a guardian guiding a child through grades 6 through 12, an undergrad or grad student, someone working on a dissertation or thesis, or simply looking to carve out your niche in the career landscape, this podcast is for you. Each episode, Dr. Jordan shares her story, offers invaluable advice, and provides practical coaching to help you thrive in school, work, and beyond. Join our community on patreon.com/Black-Liberation.Tech and become a member for as low as $5 per month. As a member, you'll gain exclusive access to live recordings, impromptu academic and career coaching, and a network of like-minded individuals committed to mutual support and success. You're also welcome to follow Black-Liberation.Tech on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Visit black-liberation.tech for even more information on Dr. Jordan's adventure in Inglés o Español. Tune in, get inspired, and let's embark on this journey together. Welcome to Black-Liberation.Tech, where your success story begins. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Black-Liberation.Tech podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Renée Jordan, and today we are going to take a look at one of the interactions, also known as digital literacy lessons on the Black-Liberation.Tech website. So I did some pre-work so that I can move through this quickly with you. Please know that if it takes you longer than this episode, that's perfectly normal because you need some time to think, reflect, and write. So I've done my writing up front so that I can flow through this walkthrough with you in order to demonstrate how to do the lesson. Before we get started, I do want to share that this walkthrough will allow me to reflect on 5 key literacies that shape my work with Jordan Nuance, LLC, and Black-Liberation.Tech. Think of this as a behind-the-scenes look at my journey and invitation for you to reflect on your own. Digital literacies aren't just skills, they are tools of liberation. In this episode of the Black-Liberation.Tech podcast, I'm taking you inside a lesson on digital literacies and walking you through 5 that guide my own journey. So design research, discovery, evaluation, sharing, and writing. Together, we'll explore how these literacies aren't just about using technology, but about reimagining what's possible for ourselves, for our communities, and for the future. So grab your notebook or just lean in and listen. Let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, I'm going to head on over to the Black-Liberation.Tech website. As always, it's in both English and Spanish. I am going to select lessons. From lessons, I'm going to scroll down to the interactions lessons and select lesson D 1.0. So a journey of learning and empowerment. This is the first in the interaction lessons. And here we have an image that was generated by ChatGPT. And here's the story that we have to start us off. All right, a journey of learning and empowerment. Nicole Bakula never thought her love for advertising would lead her to digital literacy, but life has a funny way of connecting the dots. I remember browsing YouTube all the time when I was younger, just trying to figure out how to download music, she reflects. It's funny how those early moments shaped my understanding of the digital world. By the time she moved to New York to pursue her master's in strategic design and management, Nicole had made a complete career shift. She wasn't just a public relations graduate anymore. She had become a full-fledged UX researcher. She's seen firsthand how digital tools bridge gaps for people, especially those from underprivileged communities. Her involvement with the Open Educational Resource, OER, project has one main goal: to make digital skills accessible to all, particularly marginalized groups. Digital literacy is more than just knowing how to use a computer. It's about creating spaces for people to thrive. I want to teach others how to use technology to leverage it to solve problems, says Nicole, explaining her motivation. Through the OER, she is providing resources that will help others just like her navigate a world filled with opportunities thanks to digital tools. All right, so that was our story or interview, if you will, to help us get started. The interview with Nicole Bakula and background information, just to set the scene for the lesson. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the examples of digital literacies and reflection and writing prompts section. So review the examples of digital literacies from the list below. Select 5 to explore further throughout the lesson. Based on your selections, reflect on the corresponding prompts and write out your responses. You may use those selected or choose new ones later on in the lesson. You are welcome to skip any of the prompts that do not apply and jump to the guided questions for online search to learn more about how others demonstrate digital literacies. Okay, so I've already pre-selected my 5 that I'm going to use for this lesson, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to list the initial 10 that you could select from in order to do your exploration for this lesson. So the list that I'm about to read is not a full comprehensive list, meaning it's not going to cover everything. It's just going to cover some of the things in terms of the kinds of digital literacies. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the first list. So we have learn, identify, discover, search, evaluate, uploading, share, sharing great insights, try something different, and understand software. And actually, of those listed, I'm actually going to select share. So I'll read what the prompt says, but I'm also going to skip down or go to the next section and take a look at those prompts, and then we'll continue to move. All right, so share. How do you share knowledge, resources, or experiences with others in your life? What platforms do you use, and how do you decide what to share? Think about a time when sharing something valuable helped others or created an opportunity. How did you approach sharing in that situation? What strategies or tools do you use to ensure that your sharing is meaningful and impactful? Guiding questions for online search. Search for women in nonprofit organizations or social media who are known for sharing valuable insights. What strategies do they use to amplify their message? So I'm not going to do the part where I actually do the search for the women, but I will share my response to the guided questions for sharing. And so what I'll do, I'm going to go ahead and paste this as context for my ChatGPT prompt. So I'll say, use the following as context. To skip down to the next line, you hold down, I'll zoom in a little bit, but not that close. To skip down to the next line, you hold down the shift key and then hit enter, and I'm gonna go ahead and paste. Sharing is where my research and my heart intersect. Through Black-Liberation.Tech, my OER, and my podcast, I've been intentional about making knowledge free and accessible. I use platforms like podcasting, social media, and open websites to translate complex ideas into everyday language. Sharing for me is a practice of generosity. I admire women who share boldly and consistently, whether it's through LinkedIn posts, conference talks, or grassroots workshops. I don't want to fall into the trap of hoarding knowledge or only sharing in closed elite spaces. I always want to practice sharing that is open, community focused, and empowering. By excelling in this area, I can amplify stories and strategies that help other women and girls see themselves in tech and academia, creating ripples of opportunity. Okay, so I'm just going to say number one. All right. So let's continue on. Let's just scroll on down so we can get to the meat and potatoes. In other words, the rest of my responses. So here we have another image that was generated by ChatGPT. It includes women and girls collaboratively exploring their digital literacies in a colorful, playful setting. Once again, if you're listening, go to the website, check it out. It's lesson D 1.0. All right, so lesson exploring and expanding digital literacies for academic and professional growth. Objective. By the end of this lesson, you will reflect on your current digital literacies, identify key literacies that can enhance your academic or professional journey, learn to explore new possibilities for your digital literacy skills creatively and effectively. Find role models who exemplify excellence in your areas of interest, specifically among women in tech and other fields. And finally, use ChatGPT to generate ideas on how to apply your digital literacies in innovative ways. Okay, so step number one, reflect on your current digital literacies. Choose 5 digital literacies from the list above or below. For each, answer the reflection prompts provided. You can select the same digital literacy for more than one prompt if applicable. All right, so the other digital literacies that I'm going to take a look at include design research, the qualitative aspect, discover, evaluate. We already did share. And then the fifth one, the last one, is writing. Okay, so I'll just read the full list so that those who are listening only will have an idea of the other digital literacies that you can pick from. So we have data analysis, deliver products, deliver services, designing websites, designing my stuff, develop, discover, evaluate, identify, implement, design, research, the qualitative aspect, search, share, sharing great insights, try different things, understand software, uploading, use technology in a new way, and then writing. Okay, so here are the reflective prompts that I'm going to use to take another look at my digital literacy skills. So we have, how do you currently demonstrate this digital literacy? Reflect on how you use this skill in your personal, academic, or professional life. Consider any tools, methods, or processes that help you execute this skill. How do others demonstrate this digital literacy in a way that you admire? Think about people in your life, role models, or industry leaders. How do they use this skill? What aspects of their approach do you find inspiring? In what ways do you not want to demonstrate this digital literacy for yourself? Reflect on situations or behaviors that would hinder your success with this skill. For example, perhaps you notice inefficiency in how someone else uses the skill, or you recognize poor practices that you want to avoid. Number 4, how would you like to expand or enhance your proficiency in this digital literacy? Identify areas for improvement. What steps could you take to become more proficient or more creative in your use of this digital literacy? What are the possibilities if you are able to demonstrate this digital literacy at a high level? Reflect on the potential outcomes. How would excelling in this skill impact your academic journey, career, or personal growth? All right, so now I'm going to share my other 4 digital literacy reflections that will set the background or the context for my ChatGPT prompt. All right, so next we have design research, the qualitative aspect. I'll put a space there. For me, design research is the heartbeat of my work. I approach it as more than just gathering data. It's about honoring the voices, experiences, and stories of people who are often left out of the mainstream narrative. In my dissertation, for example, I worked with Latinas, Afro-Latinas, and Black women in tech. I didn't want their stories to be just another data set. I wanted their experiences to shape how we design instruction and technology itself. What inspires me is when I see other researchers who use design as a way of co-creating, building with their communities, not for them. I never want to practice design research as extraction, where knowledge is taken but not given back. Instead, I see it as reciprocal, collaborative, and grounded in equity. Going forward, I want to enhance my skills in participatory methods and keep weaving philosophies like Ubuntu, Afrocentricity, and crystallization into my processes. If I can excel in design research at a high level, it means producing knowledge that actually transforms how institutions and communities see themselves and their power. All right. So that was design research, the qualitative aspect. My number three. So the next one that I'm going to take a look at is discover. So discovery is something I live out daily, whether it's finding a new methodology, stumbling on an innovative AI tool, or connecting with a new partner. Discovery feels like fuel for my creativity. At Jordan Nuance LLC, a lot of our products start with asking, what if? Or what haven't we seen yet? I love that spark of possibility. I admire how young people, especially Gen Z and Gen Alpha, are fearless discoverers. They dive into platforms, remix ideas, and test boundaries in ways that keep me inspired. That's part of the reason why I keep up with people on TikTok. While I post this content to share out and hope that somebody takes hold of it, I also am able to keep up to date with what's happening with young folks on TikTok since I'm not in the classroom at the moment. So it helps me to stay in touch with my community. For me, discovery is never about chasing the shiny new thing for its own sake. I don't want to be someone who gets caught in constant pivots without purpose. Instead, I aim to create a rhythm of discovery, carving out intentional time to scan, read, and experiment. The payoff is huge. When I discover something truly useful, it not only enriches my work, but also allows me to share new models and pathways for others through Black-Liberation.Tech. All right, so my number three was discovery. We're going to move on to number four, and we're getting closer. 4 out of 5. Here we go. My number four is going to be evaluate. Okay. No, 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 no. Stop. That happens sometimes. You have to hit shift and enter, or else ChatGPT will be like, I'm ready to go. Are you? No, I'm not ready to go. I'm still writing. Hang on. Okay, so back to what I was doing. Evaluation is about accountability. I've learned through managing multi-million dollar grants that evaluation is not just about checking boxes. It's about asking, did this make the impact we intended? And who actually benefited from this work? I currently demonstrate this through program assessment, student learning outcomes, and reporting to funders like NSF. I admire evaluators who go beyond numbers and create holistic pictures of success. I never want evaluation to become cold compliance that strips away context from humanity. For me, it has to be both rigorous and reflective. Moving forward, I like to enhance my evaluation process by incorporating more creative feedback loops, like using storytelling alongside data dashboards. If I can master evaluation at a high level, it means proving impact in ways that inspire funders, communities, and participants alike. All right, so moving on to number 5, the home stretch for step number 1. All right, number 5, my number my number 5 is going to be writing. Okay. So writing has always been my tool for sense making. From my dissertation to grant reports to podcast scripts, writing helps me process ideas and share them in ways that others can use for themselves. I currently demonstrate this literacy by providing deliverables for institutions, funders, and communities. I admire writers who make the complex simple without losing depth. So, those people who could take a whole lot of information and synthesize it in a way that can be delivered in a succinct fashion, as opposed to pages upon pages upon pages that who knows who is going to read. All right, so I admire writers who make the complex simple without losing depth. Those who can bridge academia and everyday people. I never want my writing to become jargon filled and disconnected from real life. Instead, I want to push myself to write with more clarity, creativity, and accessibility. If I can demonstrate writing at a high level, it means that the insights I produce don't just sit in a report, they move people to action. Okay, so let's go to the step number 2 in this lesson. So here is step number 2. Identify 5 digital literacies to pursue. Based on your reflections in step number 1, choose 5 digital literacies that are most relevant to your academic or professional journey. Consider how these skills will help you grow your current or future career. For each of the 5 digital literacies you select, answer the following questions. All right, so here we go. How do these digital literacies align with your academic or career goals? Think about the specific skills required in your field. How do these digital literacies support your long-term objectives? How can these digital literacies help you solve problems in your current work or school projects? Reflect on your immediate goals. Which digital literacies could streamline processes, increase productivity, or enhance creativity in your current projects? What resources or steps will you take to enhance these digital literacies? Identify courses, workshops, books, or mentorship opportunities that could help you build on these skills. All right, so the 5 digital literacies that I'm selecting for this step in the lesson include design research, discovery, evaluation, share, and writing. And so this one is going to be a little bit more brief because I'm going to talk about them as a collective unit, if you will. So I'm going to take my responses and paste them into ChatGPT so they can also be used as context. Give it a little space by hitting Shift and Enter. And so this is what I have. The 5 literacies I've just reflected on: design, research, discovery, evaluation, share, and writing are exactly the ones I want to focus on right now in my leadership. Design research helps Jordan Nuance LLC anchor projects in community voice and culturally responsive frameworks. Discovery keeps Black-Liberation.Tech innovative and relevant, ensuring we're not just repeating old patterns. Evaluation ensures that when I deliver programs or reports, funders and communities see real measurable impact. Share connects directly to my mission of democratizing knowledge through open educational resources and podcasts. Write ties it all together by creating deliverables that speak to diverse audiences, from founders to mothers and daughters learning tech together. Together, these literacies align with my academic, professional, and entrepreneurial goals by ensuring that my work is impactful, rigorous, and accessible. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to step number 3. So the reflect and write prompts, the step number 1 and step number 2, those allow me to create context for ChatGPT to consider when I create my prompts or when I insert my prompts. So here's step number 3. Step 3, generate prompts for ChatGPT. Use your answers from steps 1 and 2 to create prompts for ChatGPT that will help you explore how to apply your chosen digital literacies in new and innovative ways for your school or work. Here are example prompts. How can I use specific digital literacy to improve my research for a school project on insert topic? How can I implement specific digital literacy in my work to create more efficient workflows in specific task or industry? What are some examples of how women in insert the industry use specific digital literacy to innovate in their careers? Please provide inspiration. How can I use insert specific digital literacy to enhance my team's collaboration in a remote setting? What tools can I use to help insert specific digital literacy in my field? And how can I maximize their use for my career? All right, so let's take a look at my responses. Now, what I'm going to do so that I can give ChatGPT some direction, I'm going to say use the information above as context for the prompts that follow. And I'm going to enter them one at a time and collect my responses from ChatGPT to see what it has to say. So here are the prompts I could use to extend my practice with AI tools like ChatGPT. Okay, so here's my first question, or my first prompt. Design research. How can I apply Ubuntu and Afrocentricity within qualitative research design to strengthen intergenerational learning models for Black girls in tech? And let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. All right, so ChatGPT had a lot to say, and it's still talking. So here we go. Let's see what it had to say. Now, this is how you can use ChatGPT to help you brainstorm and think about your next moves and how to upskill your digital literacies. So here we go. Applying Ubuntu and Afrocentricity in qualitative design research for intergenerational learning models. Number 1, grounding in Ubuntu. Ubuntu often translates as I am because we are. Centers community, relationality, and collective identity. In a qualitative design research context, Ubuntu pushes you to move beyond individualistic framings of learning and instead emphasizes how knowledge is created, shared, and sustained across generations. For Black girls in tech, this might look like, number 1, co-creating with elders and peers, designing intergenerational programs where mothers, aunties, and community leaders actively shape curricula alongside the girls. Reciprocity as a research ethic, ensuring that outcomes of the study are given back to participants in meaningful forms. For example, toolkits, workshops, or storytelling archives. Relational methodologies, using focus groups, circles, or storytelling sessions that affirm collective voice and belonging rather than isolating participants as subjects. Okay. Number 2, Afrocentricity as an anchor. Afrocentricity situates Black experience, history, and cultural frameworks at the center of research rather than as an add-on. It requires that intergenerational learning models for Black girls in tech honor cultural knowledge systems while pushing against deficit narratives. Applied in design research, Afrocentricity could mean centering cultural knowledge, integrating African diasporic histories of innovation from storytelling traditions to mathematical systems into the tech learning model. Counter storytelling, documenting and amplifying stories of Black women technologists, past and present, so Black girls see themselves in a lineage of discovery and creativity. Design justice lens, asking at each stage, whose needs are prioritized? Whose ways of knowing are legitimized? Who benefits? All right. Intergenerational learning model implications. Bringing Ubuntu and Afrocentricity together can strengthen intergenerational learning by creating reciprocal mentorship loops where older generations, mothers, mentors, alumni share wisdom and younger generations teach digital literacies and emerging tech tools back. Embedding storytelling as pedagogy, encouraging oral histories, podcasts, and digital archives where Black girls and women record and remix their narratives in tech. Affirming collective resilience, building models where success is measured not only by individual advancement, but by the strengthening of networks, families, and communities. Number four, methodological practices. To apply this practically in your design research, use participatory action research approaches where girls and women are co researchers. Apply crystallization, multiple forms of representation, narrative, visual, analytic to honor complexity in intergenerational voices. Incorporate Afrofuturistic design sprints where participants imagine future technologies rooted in Black cultural values. In essence, by weaving Ubuntu and Afrocentricity into design research, you create intergenerational learning models that are not just about teaching Black girls to fit into technology, but about affirming their heritage, centering their voices, and positioning them as co designers of technology and community futures. All right, and then ChatGPT leaves me a note at the end saying, would you like me to also draft a set of reflective interview focus group questions that operationalize Ubuntu and Afrocentricity for use in your next study? That way, you would have tools ready to apply this framework directly. So that's an example of a brainstorming session that I just had with ChatGPT in order to figure out how I can actually enhance my digital literacy skills in the area of design and research, specifically the qualitative aspect. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this good information for myself to consider later on. And I'm going to do that by opening up a Word document and pasting it there. And I'll put save for later. Digital literacy enhancements. Okay, so that's the first of the five. Let's take a look at the next one. And I'm going to say using the information provided previously as context. I'm going to say, all right, use the information provided previously as context. And now I'm going to enter my next prompt. Discovery. What emerging AI tools are being used in education research that I could adapt for community-based projects at Jordan Nuance LLC? Let's take a look. All right, so ChatGPT gave me a pretty good list. Let's go ahead and take a look at what ChatGPT had to say. Here's a curated overview of emerging AI tools in education research that align beautifully with your focus on community-based, equitable, and culturally responsive approaches, perfect for adapting at Jordan Nuance LLC. Okay, so key AI tools and platforms in educational research. Elicit AI Research Assistant. What it does helps researchers and students discover academic literature, extract key insights, and synthesize findings efficiently. Now, anytime you get a response from ChatGPT, trust but verify. More so, verify and then trust. There we go. So I'm saying that you would want to actually go to the Elicit AI website so that you can find a description that is provided by the platform as opposed to just sticking to what ChatGPT has to say about it. Make sure it actually exists. Okay, why it matters for your work. You could use Elicit to gather rich contextual research, especially cultural and participatory design literature about Afrocentricity, intergenerational learning, and tech education for Black girls. All right, number two, Anthropic's Claude for curricula and grading. Insights from recent reports among 74,000 anonymized faculty interactions, educators used the Claude chatbot for curriculum development. That was represented by 57%. Academic research, that was represented by 13%. And assessing student performance, with 49% using it for full grading automation. And so that was at 7%. Application ideas. As a part of community embedded project design, Claude could support designing culturally responsive curricula or assist with reflective evaluation while ensuring human-centered oversight. I am the human that would be providing the oversight, that verify and then trust part. Okay? All right. Conmingo, Khan Academy's AI tutor and assistant. What it does: a generative AI tutor and educator support tool, helping with personalized student aid, lesson planning, and data insights. It's offered free for teachers in many English-speaking countries. Why it's relevant. You could explore partnerships or learning models inspired by Conmigo, especially in accessible, high impact tutoring scenarios for Black girls and community members. DigiWise slash Furby, culturally responsive AI literacy. What is it? A free, open source AI literacy program co developed by nonprofits, including Education Above, AII, MIT, Harvard, UNDP. That includes Furby, a generative AI chatbot delivering culturally adaptive learning in multiple languages. Why it stands out: designed to counter bias in mainstream AI, support non-English speakers, and promote critical AI literacy, aligned with your values of community-centered, equity-driven design. All right, so next we have Corella AI, AI for Teachers pilot program. What it does: a Queensland, Australia AI tool piloted in schools to help with administrative tasks, lesson planning, and student idea generation. Purposefully designed not to do the students' work for them. That sounds very important to me. Adaptation potential offers an example of AI designed to support, not replace, educators, aligns with ethical, empowerment focused interventions you could prototype. All right, next. Active AI, AI literacy and analytics at scale. What it does: an intelligent platform for K-12 AI literacy that includes models and assessments, with an open access, de-identified dataset capturing patterns like gender differences in AI learning. Why it's compelling: especially valuable if you're designing programs grounded in data, culturally aware metrics, or intergenerational participation models. The open dataset could inform reflective, ethical research designs. All right, last but not least, intelligent tutoring systems, ITS, and adaptive learning frameworks. Intelligent tutoring systems, computer systems that mimic the benefits of one-on-one tutoring, offering instant feedback, hints, and personalized pacing. Adaptive learning, AI-driven customization of learning pathways, shown to yield positive outcomes in 86% of students. Verify and then trust. I'm just going to say that again. Verify and then trust. I won't go through the verification process, but I want to encourage you to take a look at any of these tools that are listed. Verify and then trust. And that trust part might come after you explore it for yourself to see if it does what you need it to do. Okay, implementation potential. These models can be adapted intentionally. For example, embedding Afrocentric stories, culturally specific examples, and intergenerational knowledge into tutoring systems. Okay, now what ChatGPT has also done, it went ahead and created a summary table so that I can look at these things at a glance and decide where to go from there. Okay, so let's get down to this next set of information that it provided, how this aligns with your discovery lens. Intentional discovery versus chasing hype. Hello? Each tool offers meaning. Ethical avenues, not just the shiny new thing. Adaptability to participatory methods. Tools like Furby, ITS, and Active AI can be co-designed or localized with community input. Equity and contextual grounding. DigiWise's alignment with cultural nuance and Anthropic's ethical considerations mirror your values. Amplifying voice and practice. AI tools that support teachers and learners rather than replace them, amplifying community practice rather than erasing it, tied to Ubuntu and reciprocal design. Okay, and so here ChatGPT has some extras. Would you like to dive deeper into one of these, perhaps getting started with illicit workflow, mapping a Furby style chatbot co-design process, or sketching a localized, interactive, adaptive learning pilot? Just say the word. And then it gives me some links for me to investigate further. So, all right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna pause right here, and next week we'll come back to the 3 other prompts that I have ready for step 3 of this lesson so that we can start to wrap up this lesson. And before next week, I want you to go ahead and explore the lesson for yourself. So go to Black-Liberation.Tech, select lessons, scroll down to interactions, select lesson D 1.0, and try out that first half for yourself. Which digital literacies do you want to explore? Remember to write out your responses and tell ChatGPT to use this information as context, and then insert your prompts one at a time. And when you insert your prompts one at a time, you can tell ChatGPT to use all of the information shared previously as context, and then insert your next prompt. Take the prompt one at a time so that you don't get overwhelmed by the response. And also, so ChatGPT doesn't shorten or condense the response to something that's very narrow and doesn't give you something that's well developed for each prompt. Thank you for tuning in to the Black-Liberation.Tech podcast, brought to you by Jordan Nuance, LLC, and hosted by Dr. Renée Jordan. We hope today's episode has inspired you and provided valuable insights to help you navigate your academic and professional journey with confidence and success. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, as well as rate and review the podcast to help it become more discoverable. Whether you're guiding a child through grades 6 through 12, tackling undergraduate or graduate studies, working on a dissertation or thesis, or exploring your career options, this podcast is here to support you every step of the way. Join our community on patreon.com/Black-Liberation.Tech and become a member for as low as $5 per month. As a member, you'll enjoy exclusive access to live recordings, impromptu academic and career coaching, and a network of like-minded individuals committed to mutual support and success. Don't forget to follow Black-Liberation.Tech on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Visit black-liberation.tech for even more information on Dr. Jordan's adventures, available in both English and Spanish. Stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep moving forward. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.